Well, thank you very much. Thanks for being here, particularly on such short notice, as Kirsch mentioned. You know, frequently I hear people say it's a great day to be a Tar Heel. Today is a great day to be a Tar Heel. And I really want to, first of all, welcome Mack and Sally Brown back to Chapel Hill and the University of North Carolina. Absolutely outstanding that you've accepted the invitation to return. We cannot thank you enough. And we've got a few words that we'd like to share before we bring Mack up here to address the media in particular. First of all, I'd like to thank our Board of Trustees. And some of them are here today, sitting here in the front. Our chairman, Haywood Cochran, Dwight Stone, Lowry Cowdle, and Chuck Duckett. Thank you for your incredible guidance and leadership, the expediency in which we got to today's announcement that we have a new head coach. I cannot thank you enough for what you've done for me and for this university, at least in the last 7 years that I've been here. So thank you, and I appreciate all the support that we get. In addition to that, I believe our faculty athletics rep, Lisa Broom, may be here. I'd like to thank Lisa for her guidance throughout the year, not only today, but throughout the year, and all the support you give our student athletes. Leslie Parise, the chair of the faculty at the University of North Carolina. I'm not sure if Leslie's here, but she does an incredible job with all of our faculty in trying to communicate all the issues associated with our campus, including athletics. I don't know if Dr. Kevin Guskowitz is here, the Dean of Arts and Sciences, but Kevin has been instrumental in working with us in many areas in athletics. So I appreciate all of their hard work. Daryl Johnson, the chairman of the Faculty Athletics Committee, who's the head of trauma surgery here. Not sure if Daryl's here. Occasionally I hear Daryl coming to work. He comes in on the helicopter over the stadium for landing at the hospital, but I always know when he is at work. In addition to those folks, I'd also like to thank our General Counsel's office. Mark Merritt and Steve Cady have worked around the clock to get to this point where I had a document that I could present to our Board of Trustees to get Mack back as our head football coach. In addition, Felicia Washington, our Vice Chancellor for Human Resources and Workforce Strategy and Engagement, she has been remarkable in the quick process that we turned this around this time. In addition, our staff in athletics, Rick Steinbacher, Martina Ballin, Vince Illy, Dwight Hollier, and Robbie Pickerel did a remarkable job in the last 48 hours assisting me in the logistics and in the thought process of how to go about doing this and how to get such an incredible coach and wife back to campus. So thank you very much. A little bit about Mack. I met Mack in 1997. I came down here to visit. The Keenan Center was just built at the opposite end. I met the most positive, enthusiastic coach I've ever met in my life. It left an indelible mark on me and his enthusiasm of what this place meant to him. In 2011, when the AD job came open, first person I called about this job to get information and to learn about it was Mack. That same enthusiasm, that many years later, was still there. I could hear it in his voice about the excitement of the place, the people, the tradition, the history, the coaches that were here. It was something that just made me think, boy, if I ever had that opportunity, that's something that would be great for me. I got the job. Somehow, some way, the Board of Trustees had no idea what they were doing, but I do appreciate the opportunity. So I get here in November, and then I turn back to Mack, and I said, Mack, I'm looking for a head coach. Do you have any advice or guidance? We talked a lot about Larry. We hired Coach Fedora. He did a remarkable job in a very difficult period of time. And I'm delighted that I can call Larry a friend. I've never been around anybody that handles adversity better than him. He's incredibly professional. And talking to him on Sunday was a very difficult thing for me to do, to let him know that I'd made a decision that we were going to go in a different direction with our head coach. The same way he coaches his team in dealing with adversity and dealing with bad news, he took it with incredible respect and dignity, and it was a learning experience for me in how to handle tough situations. And I have the utmost respect for him and admiration for his family. But now's the time to talk about our future and Mack and what he brings back to the University of North Carolina. You've seen all of his accolades: national championship, incredible winning percentage, going into the College Football Hall of Fame next year. All of those things are laid out in his bio. But what is incredibly important to me is his relationship with players, his relationship with coaches, his relationship with high school coaches. And that's what I'm so excited about, having him back on campus. In addition to that, Mack he has won a national championship in football. He's joining 9 other coaches on our staff who have won national championships. Coach Williams, just most recently in 2017. Coach Shelton, last week in field hockey, just won her 7th. And Anson Dorrance is now competing this weekend for his 23rd national championship. So it is that group of coaches that he joins that I have the incredible honor to work with each and every day. So without any further ado, I would like to turn the podium over to our chancellor, and she can introduce our new head football coach. But please welcome Chancellor Carol Folt.
Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today, joining Bubba in welcoming back to Chapel Hill Coach Mack Brown. This is a big day for Carolina and for our students, our faculty, our staff, our alumni, our donors, and Carolina fans everywhere. Today, of course, we are welcoming back a coach who in his 10 previous seasons with us built a winning football program that reflected the values, the culture, and the commitment to excellence that we aspire to in everything we do here at Carolina. During my time here, I've had a chance to get to know Mack and Sally most recently when we celebrated his induction into the Hall of Fame. And I, too, have really admired his incredible commitment to the success of our student athletes. Looking at the panel that we celebrated that day, it came so clear to me. And also his deep passion for the game of college football. And I also want to join all of you in welcoming all the Browns. His wife, Sally, of course, many of you already know her. She's already been a big contributor to our community in so many ways. So we're so happy to have you back again, Sally. And their children, Barbara, Chris, Matt, and Catherine. We absolutely hope you feel like it's welcome back home. UNC Chapel Hill just celebrated its 225th anniversary. And in thinking about that, I realized that football has been a part of our history for 130 seasons. That means that more than half of our time as America's oldest public university has included football. And I think that's pretty interesting. Today, of course, we are one of America's top universities. We just reached number 5 in federal research a week ago. We're competitive in all areas. And today, our students, faculty, and staff strive for excellence in everything that they do. And our athletic enterprise is no different. I want to thank Director Bubba Cunningham, for all that you do and for the incredible staff that you have here and all the coaches and the people that make this such a great operation. And I think really agree with you that this is an amazingly clever board of trustees because they hired me too. It's great having you here and really do appreciate as well the way we were able to make this happen so quickly. It's just wonderful to be celebrating that today. I also want to join Bubba in expressing my deep gratitude and respect for Coach Fedora. Mack's going to be joining quite an amazing team in athletics at Carolina, joining our other Hall of Fame coaches, including Coach Roy Williams, Sylvia Hatchell, Anson Dorrance, Karen Shelton, Donna Papa. And I'm so proud of all of our head coaches and their staffs who over decades have collectively graduated tens of thousands of student athletes, while at the same time winning 276 ACC titles, 50 national team titles. They've coached 66 individual national champions and 94 Olympians. And outside the classroom and in their lives beyond Carolina, our student athletes really shine. They have become community leaders and successful in all professions, as is true for all of Carolina's graduates. And we know how important the coaches and the staff are at their success. Just a few weeks ago, we celebrated Karen Shelton's 7th national championship. I'm going to be there when the soccer team competes in their 28th women's soccer Final Four appearance, and we're all going to be cheering them all on. It's an exciting time to be here and to be part of athletics. So, Mack, you are returning to a wonderful community that is welcoming you with open arms and agrees with you that we are all dedicated to making our student athletes thrive. I know that is top of mind for you and having a really successful football program. So welcome back, welcome home, and why don't you come up to the podium and I will hand you maybe your first game ball.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I didn't want to fumble it. Take care of it. Sally and I are very excited to be here. We've looked at different opportunities over the last few years, and Sally and I would sit down, and it didn't seem to be the fit. Wasn't where we wanted to live. It just didn't seem to be the right place for us. So I asked Sally 2 years ago, where would we go? She said, I'll coach with you, I'll travel with you 3 different places. I'll go to Hawaii, I'll go to the Bahamas if they start football, or I'll go to Chapel Hill. And those are the 3 places that I would go. So thank you, trustees, for trusting us and giving us this opportunity. Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you, Bubba. We're really, really excited about this. You start asking yourself, why coach again? Maybe you've done enough. And you start looking at being out a few years, and you really miss the players. You miss the relationships with the players. And you miss, as I look over to Dwight Hollier, and Rick Steinbacher, and Corey Holliday, and Clint Gwaltney, you miss having a piece of their lives and being so proud of them. When we came back for the Hall of Fame celebration in August, to see so many players, and Sally was talking about doctors and lawyers and guys who had been successful in so many areas, and just to think that you had a little piece of that success is something that's really, really special. And you miss having a staff. ESPN was so good to me, and I really enjoyed it. It was a great transition from coaching, and I got to watch games. I got to call games. I got to spend time with coaches and players, and it helped me because I learned so much more about the media than I knew before, and I think I can handle my relationships with media better now because I understand your job better, and it's a lot more difficult than coaches think it is, by the way. But also the fact that I was able to see so many different places and what they were doing in football and how they were handling their kids and practicing and calling their games, and that was important. So I can't wait this afternoon to meet the team. This team has a void. They lost their coach. They had some very difficult games this year. Well, Sally and I have a void because we haven't had a team for a number of years now. And this afternoon, when we meet that team, we will fill their void for being their leaders and their coach, and they'll fill our void for needing a team. And then we'll have to work in a number of areas. We'll have to work to communicate very quickly because a lot of times men don't communicate very well. We keep all of our feelings, and women can talk, and they all get along with each other. We got 2 daughters. I ask them in the morning, what are you going to do? And it takes 45 minutes to get through with what they're going to do. We ask our 2 sons, got anything to do today? No. Ask them in the afternoon, how'd your day go? It's fine. Anything exciting happen? No. I'm going to go watch TV. So we have got to get this group to communicate with us starting today. And after you communicate and you learn to communicate with each other, then you can build up some trust and respect. And those are easy words, but they're very difficult to do. And it's something that you've got to really work at. And then I went to Iraq in the summer of '08, and I spent 10 days on the front lines. And I learned that we've got 19-year-olds over there fighting for our freedom. And I asked the General Odinero, who's in charge of the Iraqi military group at that time, I said, why do they come? Why are they here? He said, we have a common purpose. And our common purpose is very important to us, and that's to keep our country safe. So with the guys this afternoon, we'll learn to communicate. We'll talk about that. We'll start building some trust and respect because we want them to fill our void and we want to do the same for them. And then at the same time, our common purpose is for them to have a great experience here, for them to learn to be better people when they get out of here and have a wonderful life afterwards. And we want them to win. I've tried that both ways. And winning's a lot more fun than that other stuff. It's not even close. It's not even in the same ballpark. And then I want to meet the coaches that are here and the staff that's here. They've worked really, really hard. And those kids played hard this year. And then I want to reach out to recruits and high school coaches and all of those things that we have missed. We had a great relationship with the high school coaches when we left here. And that's something we will renew, the ones that are still out there, and we'll get to know the new guys, because that is such a key to getting better. Our team was probably 90+% from the state of North Carolina when we left. And you want to go to school where your parents and your high school coach can see you play, your friends can see you play. You want to go to school where when you get through, you can get a job in an area where you've been popular and made a name for yourself on the football field. So it's really, really important for their futures. If they want to build a life in this state, go to the University of North Carolina. Get a degree from one of the best academic institutions in the country where the faculty is unbelievable. People know it's hard when you get that degree, and go play in front of people and fix a struggling program. Come out here and help us get this thing back on track and fill those seats, and that's very, very important as we start looking through. The only tough thing about this decision, it was very quick. We had to make some quick decisions, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the tough thing was I like Larry Fedora. I have respect for Larry Fedora. And he did a tremendous job here in times under very difficult circumstances. So I will promise Larry and his wonderful family that Sally and I know well that we will take care of his players and we will help them grow and move forward like he was working to do for many years here. We will also make sure that there will not be one negative word said about Larry Fedora or his staff in front of any of these players. And if Dylan, his son, wants to stay on the staff, I'd love to have him. And I have not been able to talk to Larry yet because this happened so fast. We didn't even talk to our children. So we had to text them to tell them we were coming. It moved so quickly. So, but I want to make sure that everybody understands the great respect that we have for Larry, and that changing coaches is very difficult. It affects a lot of families, not just Larry's, and we will reach out and make sure that we handle all of those situations the best that we can. So looking forward to seeing the team this afternoon, looking forward to meeting the staff over the next couple of days. If people ask, have you got staff in mind? Sure I have. I've been out and thought about going back into coaching every year, so you've got staff in mind. If anybody asked, before you asked, have you contacted any coaches? None. I hadn't had time. So I have not talked to anybody. Do you have coaches you know you're going to hire? I've got some in mind, but I really haven't gotten to a point that I can call permission to talk to them and see if they would be interested in coming in. So talking to the players, talking to the high school coach, the recruits, trying to talk to the 12 commitments that we have at this time, putting ourselves in a position to visit with the staff, visit with the coaches, start thinking about who you're going to bring in, and move as quickly as we can is very, very important. The reason I think Bubba had to move so fast is early signing date. It's changed things, and it's changed things tremendously because a large majority of the kids signed on the first date last year. And that's not something that I anticipated. In the American Football Coaches Association, we wanted an early signing date. We wanted it so the kids that knew they were coming to North Carolina could sign. We wanted it so the kids that were coming in early in January would have an opportunity to sign because they didn't have a signing date before. We didn't think that a large majority of kids would sign. So we'll probably ask some kids to slow down a little bit and give us some time to get to know you. The other thing that Bubba did this morning and was really, really fun for Sally and I is we got to meet all the head coaches on campus. There is no better all-around athletics program in the country than the University of North Carolina. It's a flashback, but Coach Williams and I we worked together here my first year. We've stayed very dear friends. Our sons and daughters are tremendous Carolina fans. It got me in trouble some in Austin. I had to keep their mouth shut. When Roy'd come to play, they'd say, "Can we get tickets?" I said, "Nope. You can't wear Carolina blue sitting next to the president of Texas. You can't do that." And I said, "Can you go and keep your mouth shut?" And they said, "No, we can't." I said, "So you don't get tickets." That's just it as we look through. But meeting all those coaches, and so many of them are still here. It's amazing the success they've had and the longevity that they've had, and it shows you how special this place is. So, and the last thing is, why come? We had a relationship with Bubba. We trust him. That's so important. We were in a position where we didn't have a team. We didn't have a game coming up. We didn't have a bowl game. We didn't have to ask anybody's permission. I've done a whole lot of contracts. We're at a point where we didn't have to ask for the world to leave somewhere to go. And we wanted to coach. And we wanted to coach here. And Sally was kind of cutting up about Hawaii and the Bahamas. This is really true. This is the only place that we would have gotten back in coaching to do because the place is so special to us. We love challenges, and with this opportunity that the trustees and the chancellor and Bubba have given us, it gives us an opportunity to fix things, and we love to fix things. So, Steve, any questions?
So we have two microphones, Matt and Blaze. Asking you wait for the microphone. When you get the microphone, I'll call on you. If you will introduce yourself, who you're with, for coaches' benefit, and then I'll try and kind of cluster. You may pass the mics to each other. But first question is Aaron, then Greg, then Andrew.
Aaron Beard with the Associated Press. I guess, was there much hesitation? It sounds like you've been thinking about this for a long time, and it was something you wanted to pounce on. Did you have any hesitation of taking this job?
Aaron, we really didn't, because we had discussed it every year. And we'd interviewed for a number of jobs. It was never public because I was still working at Texas, and they knew it. I was still working at ESPN, and we thought it might disrupt our job there if any of those were public. So we asked the universities to keep it private with us. And each year we would walk out of the interview and say, it just didn't feel right. So we didn't know that this would come up. We didn't know that it would feel right. And when it did, I asked Sally, because she's put up with a lot with me in coaching. I said, "What do you think? You want to do this?" And she said yes. So we moved very quickly to get here. And like I said, we got a full plate because we haven't been able to do anything. I just threw a bunch of clothes in a bag and headed this way. So somebody asked me this morning, "How long are you going to be there?" And I said, "Rest of my life, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I'm going back. So Sally will have to bring me some clothes, or I'll have to buy some here." So, but it was not a hard decision because of all the things I mentioned. We know this place, and we know you can be successful in football here. And Austin and Chapel Hill are where we have more friends than anywhere else in the world. So it was a very easy move for us.
I think if you have a question for either the chancellor or Bubba, let me know that. Let's try and get most of the questions for Coach first.
Greg Barnes in South Carolina. Mack, what is your vision for this program, and how is it different, if at all, from the first time you were here?
Greg, I remember that to Dwight Hoyer this morning that he was in the first meeting I had with the new team when I was here before. And I said, "You remember what I said?" "I don't even remember what I said." And he said, "Yeah, it's really cool." And I said, "Well, you need to tell me what it was that made you feel like it was cool, because I want it to be cool for these kids this afternoon." You don't win because you want to win. Everybody wants to win. You win because you go through a process of getting better. And that process is discipline to start with. You got to go to class. You got to do little things right in your life. You got to eat right. You got to sleep right. You got to exercise. You've got to put yourself in the best position you can be in. And then it's the coach's responsibility to help you get advantages against your opponents. So why hire a coach if I can't help you, Greg, get to the passer better? Then I'm not going to have respect for my defensive end. So assistant coaches have to do a tremendous job of helping the player learn to get better. And that's protecting the ball. Football is an easy game that's complicated by people. And protect the ball. Hold on, we all say it. I'd get sick of the ESPN was so mad at me. I'd go in to interview these coaches, and I'd say, "What you got to do to win the game?" I'd say, "Well, protect the ball, get some takeaways, win the kicking game." I say, "You all say the same thing." It's not complicated. It is. If you're protecting it better than the other team, you're going to win the large majority of the time. If you can kick it well enough to get it far enough on the other end that a college team has to take it 80 yards instead of 40, the percentages are overwhelmingly against the offense that they will drive it that far without too many penalties or mistakes. If you can have a team that's pretty much penalty-free, they're the ones that win. So our team knows those things. What we've got to do is make sure that we pull together. We all are heading in the same direction. I'm going to tell them that enjoy your holidays because this is the last time you're going to have them. We're planning on winning next year, and for the seniors, you can't say we're going to rebuild. You can't say we're going to play all young guys. We want to win next year. We want to win now, and that's very, very important to us. So trust, communication, trust, respect, common purpose, making sure that we pull together as a family fast, and you do your job. Our biggest rule will be always do what you know is the right thing to do. And if you have to ask somebody if it's the right thing to do or not, it's not. Don't do it. And that'll be our biggest rule. And as long, and then the responsibility's on them. If they break the rules, they'll be held accountable. Period. And we're going to be player friendly. We're going to love them. We're going to get to know them. We're going to re-recruit them. But if they mess up, we're going to punish them. And that'll help them when they're 40 and when they're 60. And that's our responsibility. So we'll talk very little about winning. We're going to talk about process. We're going to talk about confidence. We're going to talk about discipline. We're going to talk about getting yourself in a position that the coach that's teaching you, you will listen to, and you'll be better because we're developing you as a person, a confident person, and a player. When I was coaching before, people would get on me some because when things were bad, I was the cheerleader. And they always said, "Why? You're cheering, you're getting your tail beat." And I said, "I want those players to know I hadn't quit. I think we got a chance." When we were winning, I was all over them because I wanted them to understand, don't get complacent. Sometimes early scores are imposters in football, and you got to play 60 minutes. And the thing I loved the most about football was winning late games close. I didn't like getting behind, but I thought it was the coolest thing that you had confidence and the ability, the discipline to come back and beat somebody late in the game. And I've missed that. I look forward to that.
Andrew Jones, Tar Heel Illustrated. How much were you able to follow this year's team? And do you understand how familiar are you with what you're inheriting, positives, and maybe some of the things that need fixing?
Yeah, Andrew. It was Andrew? Yes. Andrew, it's a little unique because I was here for practice early in the fall, so I actually got to watch the team practice. And so I saw that and actually talked to Larry about you got a chance and you got some good players and got some things going. On Saturday at ESPN, my job was to sit and watch 24 games. So we've got 6 TVs in front of us, and we're supposed to be sitting there emailing things to our producer that we want to talk about. And so I saw every game. Now, I had to get up and go on set, and I had to go eat and do different things, so I didn't see every play of every game, but I've got a pretty good feel of who we are. The thing that I was really proud of for these kids, these assistant coaches, Larry's staff, they played hard. I just couldn't believe it, just sitting there watching the Virginia Tech game. I nearly texted Larry and Bubba right at the end of the game saying, going up by 12, I'm out of here. I got to go do something else, and then the fumble, then the drive, and it was a year that just things like that didn't fall in line late. So I know the numbers, I don't know the names. I've heard there's 12 recruits, I don't know who they are. So I'm way behind in so many areas that I've got to catch up. The good thing about the early signing date and dead period, I'll have till after the convention to get all this stuff done and get a staff in place and know who the players are by the time they get back. And we've just got to really try to figure out recruiting between now and the 19th.
Hey, Mac. Ed Harden, Greensboro News and Record.
Hey, Ed.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. what are your ties to North Carolina through the years? How have you kept up with the state and with Chapel Hill, and just your impressions of it from afar? And is the fish tank still over there?
It was funny. Sally knows I love to fish. So moving into the new building, she bought a fish tank. Not the university, but she got permission to put the fish tank in my office and didn't tell me. And I was walking around looking at that glass over in the corner, and I never got to move in the office. So actually it was public that the fish tank was really important to me. So DeLoss Dodds put one in my office at Texas, and I had one there for 16 years. And was it Rick or Dwight? Somebody told me, where is the fish tank? It's in the Ronald McDonald House. Our everything around here is really run by friend James Sperling. So if you need anything, in fact, James was on the sideline for the national championship game, and I think he called plays late in that game. That's what he said. The first one, he didn't call plays in the second one. So, Dan Brezowitz helped us with that building before, and we're so proud of that building, and still today, because it's withstood the test of time. Dan texted me the other day and said, "You'll finally get to move into your office," because I never got to move into it, which is unique. But we have a house in North Carolina. We've been up at Linville, and we love it up there, and we've actually stayed there since we left Texas, from June till late October when the leaves change. And we've kept the relationship with so many of our friends. I'm like the kids. I pull for Roy like I'm sitting on the bench. Only difference is they yell at Roy when something goes wrong. I don't yell at Roy. So it's been so fun. Knowing Larry and following him, it was fun for us to pull for Carolina football too. And when you're at ESPN, everybody's got their teams. Well, my two teams were Texas and North Carolina. So I'm with Jonathan Villman. I'm with Kevin Nagandi, and they're Miami and Temple. So every week they're so, how's your team going to do? So, excuse me. So we had our little side bets as we would go into it. So we've been very involved in watching this university for a long time.
Brett Friedlander, North State Journal. If I could direct this to both Coach and Bubba, there are a lot of examples of coaches coming back to jobs that they once had. Johnny Majors at Pittsburgh, John Robinson at USC, Bill Snyder at Kansas State, where it hasn't worked out. What factors make you confident that in this particular case you can buck that trend?
Thanks, Brett. Well, Mack is unique. The University of North Carolina is unique. He has been here. He'd been incredibly successful. He went on to Texas, had a great career down there, and I've got complete faith and confidence that he'll do the exact same thing here. And it's all about those relationships that he talked about. I couldn't be more excited to have him here, and I know that the players, the high school coaches, the university community, this town will completely embrace him, and I'm looking for really good things to come, and come very quickly.
And Brett, we know the place. So many of the people are still in place. It's amazing watching those head coaches this morning. Nobody left. I mean, they look a little older, but they're still winning games and doing that. The other thing is, if you think about it, when you hire somebody, I don't know what the percentage is. It'd be interesting for you all to look. Most of the coaches don't make it, period, whether it's their first stop or their second stop, because it's a very, very hard profession. And we have made it everywhere we've been. We know how to win. We know how to make it work. The most important thing is the fit and the chemistry. And we have the fit and the chemistry here. And to me, that's the most important thing. Plus, I've got this afternoon, I'm going to meet with Corey and Dwight and Rick, who I trust with my life. They put me in the Hall of Fame, and they're big, good-looking guys that are smart. So I've already got somebody on the inside that knows the players. They know the coaches. They know everything that's happened good over the last 10 or 15 years. They know everything we've struggled with. So I have such an advantage with those guys this afternoon. I'll be way ahead by 5 o'clock today on knowing exactly who we are.
How you doing, Coach? JB Rich with Spectrum News. Welcome back to the Triangle in Chapel Hill.
Thanks, JB.
What's going to be the biggest challenge for you when it comes to relating to these players compared to the ones that you were recruiting, with you being out of coaching for the past 5 years? What will be the biggest challenge for you with these players compared to those?
It's a good question. It's exactly what I said. Earning their trust. and their respect because they don't know me. I'm a new guy. Now, there's some great advantages that they have watched and listened to me on TV for the last few years. There's an advantage that they know I came here for their practice. So I think there'll be some familiarity with them this afternoon. But that's my job. I love kids. Sally loves kids. Sally's the best thing I've got about being a head coach because she is the powerful person behind the scenes who doesn't want to interview, doesn't want to talk, but she'll pull the kids off to the side and I'll find out more from her than I ever find out from them. And we used to do that in recruiting. She'd come and say, "You're not going to get so-and-so." And I'd say, "What do you mean? I think we're getting him." She said, "No. The mom mentioned to me 13 times, you're too far away. You're too far away. I'd love to come, but you're too far away." So the next morning I'd say, "I think you're wrong." And we'd get in. I'd say, "Mom, what do you think?" "You're too far away." So it wasn't complicated. It made me mad sometimes that she knew more than I did. And she will come sometimes and say, "So-and-so's got a car and his parents got him this car and he just doesn't have enough money for the gas." And I'd say, "It's a brand new car. They bought him. He doesn't need gas to drive all over the place." So their way to get to me is through her. And I usually listen.
Hey, Coach. Jeff
Hey, Jeff.
Bradley,
How are you?
WIL-TV. Welcome back. I've had fun the last 24 hours looking through a lot of old file tape. The press conference
You look
had-
older too, by the way.
I know,
That you,
thank you.
it's a,
Appreciate
yeah.
that.
I know you were a child when I was here before.
was.
Yes.
The press conference when you left and you held down here to go to Texas, you said, "Why do you go to Texas?" You said, "I felt the need to go help." Would that be a similar sentiment to why you accepted this job?
Absolutely. I love this place. Sally loves this place. It needs to be really, really great in football. Every other sport is great. So football needs to pick it up. And you want to fix things. To me, it's more fun to fix than it is maintain. If you're maintaining, you have to be careful because you can get complacent, you can get bored. And we used to think winning 10 games was bad. And we'd say that's the minimum. God, we only won 10. And that's not a healthy thing. And I'm so excited about starting over with young people I don't know. I know their numbers. I've watched them. I'm so excited about putting people around them that will help them and me helping them get this place back where we all want it to be. I really respect the coaches that are here. Dave Doran texted me yesterday. David Cutcliffe texted me yesterday. I've done their games. I've called their games over the last few years, and they're friends. And I'm excited about putting teams out there to compete with their well-coached teams. And I love John Swafford as the commissioner. He hired me and brought me here. I like all the coaches in the league. Steve Adazio texted yesterday too, and I love Steve. I hired Steve for 5 minutes at Texas. He sat in my office. He took the job. I hugged him. He walked out. He walked back in and said, "Temple offered me the head coaching job, and I feel really bad about this." And I said, "Don't feel bad. Congratulations, go." So he has been on my staff for 5 minutes. But there's no question that I like a challenge. It energizes you. It keeps you up at night for a positive thing. And I love hiring staffs and putting things together. And it's just, I'm so excited. People say you can't sleep. I couldn't sleep anyway, so it works fine for me.
We've got about 10 more minutes, and I've already seen about 5 hands. So keep it quick, please. Ross, then if you'll pass it over your left shoulder, please.
Ross Martin, Inside Carolina. Obviously, you mentioned recruiting, sign day coming up. What's your general strategy for recruiting, not just for this class, but in the future, and kind of the recruiting strategy and mission moving forward?
Ross, it's a great question, and I've got to get my 3 guys together this afternoon because I don't know any of the recruits. I don't know where they're from. I don't know who's still out there that we're recruiting because this all happened so quickly, and I obviously wasn't sitting around. I was pulling for the team. I wasn't looking at recruiting. So I'm further behind in that area than any other right now. So as soon as we talk to the team, the rest of my day will be looking at who's on the road, where are they, where do I need to go and get out immediately. So all of that will be a process that we will start immediately this afternoon. Strategy is get the best players you can. I'd love and I need to sit down with the guys and see what we need. How many seniors have we got? What positions are we losing? Where did we sign good freshmen last year? who can come in and play immediately. So all of those things are things that you think about. And to me, I'd love the large majority of our team to be from in-state for all the reasons I said. And then we used to go to Virginia, and we used to go to Florida, and we used to go to Atlanta. And you go to different places out of state to get some players. But to me, you got to win at home first. You got to win in this stadium before we can go somewhere else and win. You got to win at home in recruiting before you can go out of state, because if the locals won't come, why would an out-of-state guy that's really good want to come? So we will go back to the same process we've used everywhere, and that's find the best players that are as close to your campus as you can be and build your program with them, and then add superstars from outside.
Hey, Coach Brown. Patrick Wright from WFMY in Green.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, welcome back to Chapel Hill.
Thank you.
My question is, what's the biggest lesson you learned in your time covering college football?
Oh, boy, the number one, that coaching's a hard profession. I've watched and I see, I'm calling the Clemson-Syracuse game a couple of years ago when Clemson lost the game late, and Dabo Swinney's getting on that plane at midnight in Syracuse and get back to Clemson at 5 in the morning, and then he had to hop on a plane and go to a reunion for the halftime of the Alabama game in Tuscaloosa. And Sally and I sat and looked at each other. That we didn't miss. So it's really, really difficult. The other thing that I saw is coaching matters. It matters because you look at guys who even got into it this year. Scott Frost really struggled early. He coached that team so hard at Nebraska, they got better at the end of the year. Chip Kelly struggled early. The kids bought in at midseason. He finished really, really strong, beating USC. So coaching does matter. And it's so refreshing to me when I've traveled this year for the Hall of Fame celebration for the year. But when you get around the guys that we had here, or Tulane or Appalachian, and they say, you probably don't remember this, but you told me this when I was a sophomore, and I'll never forget it. And I don't know if I told them that or not, but it might not be what I said, it's what they heard. So you have to be really careful starting this afternoon that every little thing you say and do affects someone's life. And that's a wonderful thing. And if you're not careful, you win so many games, you get into you. And you lose the fact that it's about the players, it's not about you. You lose the fact that it's about teaching them and growing for the rest of their lives. It's about their education. It's about the rest of our country in that way in some ways. We need young leaders coming out of our football program. And if you're not careful, we were 25-2 at Texas in 08 and 09, and I was crushed and really wasn't that positive with the team after we lost Alabama, because I knew it was so hard to get to the national championship, and it was so important to the place and the people that I had let them down. So I've got to make sure that it doesn't get off track again and be about just wins or be about just me and how many games I've won as a coach and what we can do. It's about the kids, and it's about the process. And I'm starting from a much healthier place now than when I finished a few years ago.
Yeah, hi, Mac. Kip Coons for Pressbox View.
Hey, Kip.
Hi. I'm wondering, did you reach out to any of your colleagues in either broadcast or coaching about the advisability of getting back in at this after a layoff?
Yeah, Kip, it's a good question. It was interesting that every year we've had a coach get back in that was up there, and I had not. And they all would ask me, would you get back in? And I always said it'd have to be perfect. I'm not going to go unless I'm passionate about going. I don't just want to go and coach. I want to go coach at the right place where I can make a difference and where we wanted to live, because that was very, very important to us, that we're around friends. And this is the only place that worked for all those things. So, but I didn't really have time, very honestly. The only one I had to get approval from was Sally. And we have really enjoyed our grandkids for the last few years. My 8-year-old last night was disappointed. He was really happy we took the job in Austin, but he thought we were going to live in Austin and coach at North Carolina. So he got a little confused when he understood Pops won't be here anymore. And then his dad took him out late last night and got a schedule out. And he said, look at all these great games. Look at all these great places. You can go with Pops to these. So I'm already committed to the 8-year-old to take him to the Virginia Tech game next year. So that's the only commitment I've made, and that's the only staff hire I've made in my mind is he'll be with me. And his dad, Chris, was on the sidelines with us here so many times. Chris really wanted us to take the job because he thought it was such a wonderful experience for him to be on that sideline. He wanted the grandkids to be able to see their pops in a coaching role again. So that's kind of cool too. Hey, Art.
Congratulations. Welcome back to you and Sally.
Thank you.
I heard a story this week about a woman that you didn't know and doesn't know you called you at Texas after you'd won the national championship. A former player here was in trouble. She knew the player, and she wanted to ask for your help. And she left a message, and you called her back within 10 minutes. And that underscored to me the amazing affinity that you kept. There was some hard feelings when you left, but the amazing affinity that you kept for Chapel Hill and UNC. Was it because you were here that long, because you met Sally here, because Swafford hired you, because he stuck with you after 1 and 10 and 1 and 10? What is that amazing affinity that you've kept all these years, continued to come back and visit and live in the mountains and all that stuff?
Number one, I grew up in Tennessee. I coached at Appalachian. I coached here. We love the very few places in the world you can have mountains and beach this close together. And Sally and I had a place at Figure 8 forever, and we loved it and would run down there as often as we could and look forward to trying to do that again. Not for a while. Sally may go, but she can send me pictures because I won't be going. But the other thing is the affinity for your players. And first, John Swafford gave me an opportunity here when we weren't great at Tulane. So he took a chance, and it was a huge chance. And it took us a while to get it fixed. And I remember, bless his heart, Woody Durham asked me after a ball game, and the year we were 6-4-1, I think, maybe third year, and he said, are you going to get this fixed? And it just popped out. I said, yes. I don't know when, but I know it's going to be fixed now because we're getting good enough and things are better moving forward. But the last part of that is that, so I owe this place a whole lot, and that's why I want to come back and do my part. The last part of this is the most important thing to all of us are our families, our kids and our grandkids. And when you walk into a recruit's home, you're taking the most valuable thing in their life out of their house, and you're responsible for them. So whether it's these 4 guys today, whether it's somebody who needs a job, one of the problems I've gotten so many text messages from ex-players when you've been a head coach for 30 years. Hey, coach, love you, need a job. Hey, coach, love you, I can coach defensive backs. Hey, coach, love you. And I'm saying, oh, my God. So I asked Corey this morning, can we have 20 assistant coaches? I need more. I need more room. There's so many requests. But you have that responsibility for a life. And it's been such a blessing for Sally and I when they put you in the Hall of Fame and they say you've got a year to be honored. I said, what? Why? Why don't you just put them in the Hall of Fame? And they said, we want you to be able to go see staff, coaches, administration, and players that helped you get in the Hall of Fame and say thank you. And it's been so rewarding for Sally and I to see so many of the ex-players here in Tulane and Appalachian and Texas and go back and catch up and be so proud of them. And to me, that's given us more energy and passion because we did make a difference in so many lives that we can still do that and look forward to doing it again.
Hey, I'm Mack, Jonathan Alexander with the News and Observer. I hope you're doing well.
I am, Jonathan. Thank you.
You mentioned, recruiting at home first. The perception, I guess, in recent years has been the very best recruits tend to go out of state, Clemson's, elsewhere. What do you believe is the key, or how do you convince those recruits to stay in state?
Well, you got to be the cool place to be. And we were the cool place to be before, and we can be again. And I do think it matters that you are the state university. And there's tremendous support here. We got to get people back in these seats. If people want to win football games, come and show it. And you don't show up after they win. Come on. Come on, help us. Buy tickets and get back out there and show these young guys that in those tight games that they had, help them with a home field advantage to win those games. So we've got to get back on social media because kids are all over social media, and we've got to make sure we have a great presence today in their lives because they're on the phone more than they're studying, I'm afraid, sometimes right now. What we've also got to do is show people again, like we did here before, that we can win and that we will win, and you need to jump on and be part of it now. The other thing we have here, and I think Roy had to leave, we have a tremendous advantage because we have such a great basketball program. Kids love basketball, and they love to come and see it, and they love to be around it and be part of it. So Coach Smith and Coach Williams and Coach Guthridge always helped us recruit. And that's something that Roy will help us with again. I remember Greg Black was a great defensive lineman for us outside of the Charlotte area. And his mother said, Greg will come, and is about our 5th year here, but I'm going to ask you something, and if you'll do this, he'll commit. And I said, what is it, Miss Black? And she said, I want Greg and I to meet Coach Smith before the Duke game. And my first thought was, I've been here 5 years, I've never met Coach Smith, so I don't know that you can do that. But so I'll never forget, I called Coach Smith. He spent 30 minutes with him before the Duke game. And he committed to Coach Smith. He didn't commit to me. And I said, I'm good. I'm good. Coach, hold Mama to that. Mom said, I'm in, Coach. You did what I asked you to do. So we will use Roy and the tremendous basketball program to help us get back on track as well.